My name is Josiah, or Josíah Garza. I am a fifth-year student here at the University of Texas at Austin, majoring in biology and music composition. I come from La Joya, Texas, and I am the composer of Maria. So I came from a very humble background, and regardless of that, I knew I wanted to become an artist. And I knew at the University of Texas at Austin, I could make that reality happen with some time and with some training. And so, having graduated as valedictorian in my class in high school, I knew that I could become a biology student here, and that was my ticket into this space to earn the right to study the arts and help create with the Butler Opera Center. And I didn't know how that journey was going to look, but I decided to take the risk because I knew what starts here can change the world, and for me it certainly did. My family had been a set of drummers in conjunto bands, and so I became a percussionist in the band at that time when I was about 6th grader. And secretly, I fell in love with orchestration and instrumentation, and I would compose on the side these little projects all alone, never really knowing that it was a craft that could be studied until right before college. I decided I want to become a composer because it's the area that studies the holistic of art. It merges so many worlds and it brings them all together in ways that unlocks new, unfound territory. And so I began my journey as a composer. I didn't really start studying it academically and learning the craft truly until I came to college. And after 2 rounds of auditions, I finally got into the Butler School of Music, and I'm honored to be here to learn from such amazing professors. My professor and mentor, Dr. Evgeny Charlat, has really helped me just, I guess, soar.
Right, and it should be very clear and very direct. You're the matriarch. You make a rule. Okay, good. Let's do it again. Here we generally do 3 operas on the main stage and then scenes, programs, and workshops. So this is an addition for our 20th anniversary season, and it's a 1-act piece, and we went with the composition department a year ago and found composers that were interested in working in this form and doing the work that it takes to write for opera, looking at the range for voices and in this case percussion and electronic music as well as instrumentalists.
Okay, let's do 1 down bum. This is my okay.
The stages of composing an opera, they really start at the story itself, right? And so, specifically for my opera, Maria, it came from the conversations with my nana, Maria Luisa Cantu Garza. And at the start of the pandemic, I moved in with her to take care of her. From these conversations we had, I learned so much about her life and what a privilege it was to be who I am today. And really, it was her as a mother who really founded all that. And so this work became a love letter to all mothers, all Marias out there. The stages of writing this opera started with that sentiment, and then going into the world of how can we create this story in a way that will make sense, that will be cohesive. And so it became really about storyboarding. And so I would go to museums and look at storyboard illustrations and see how did other artists approach this, right? I would watch operas and be like, okay, let's see what this medium's all about. And then I sat down and I wrote my own storyboard. I wrote paragraphs on paragraphs of pages accompanied by pictures that are for me to know and to live in this world first so that I can translate it to the librettist, Demian Chavez. So he's a fantastic playwright here at the Winship School of Theater and Dance. He's only 19, he has so many works. And so when he returned this fully Spanish libretto, we came into this project knowing that there was going to be this element of bilingual nature to tell a deeper story of culture and heritage and what that means to society and assimilation. The second stage, my job was to take this Spanish script, essentially, and see where are we going to embed the English. So that way we have this dual nature work that tells the story cohesively.
This is I wish Inez could see you.
I wish Inez could see you, mi hijo, mi sol.
I took my storyboards, I took the scenes that I reenacted with my grandmother, where I would play music, it would be a rainy night, the power would go out, she would light a fire, and I would play some music that was inspiring me at the time, and I would walk her through this story so that I could ask her, is this okay? What are you okay with sharing, right? Because I feel like it's such a privilege for an audience member to hear the story of somebody when they haven't been able to tell it yet. And that is the bravery that's coming from my grandmother right now, letting us so beautifully display her life and this narrative to the world. I have a complete libretto, and then I start to write. And I sit down at the piano, and I've had melodies playing in my head for years that I want to bring to the table, and I see what fits with the words, and then we see what words need to be tweaked, we see what edits need to be made, and then I write, and I write, and I write like I'm running out of time, and I write like there's no tomorrow. Because it fuels me, right? So like I'll wake up writing. I'll be like, oh, this is a great idea, and I'll look for that book, that manuscript, and I'll sit at the piano immediately, and then 10 hours go by, and my grandma puts her hand on my shoulder, and she says, that sounded beautiful today. And then I did it all again for 4 months, 10 hours a day, and it was worth it.
It's important in an opera program to do the work of living composers. And when we have one who is basically in the Butler School already, it's a chance for students to collaborate and create the sounds of today. And this is what this program is hopefully set out to do.
So the environment here at the Sarah and Ernest Butler School of Music, Butler Opera Center specifically, is so novel in the world of opera because they are training student composers to understand all the elements that go into what an opera truly is. And so I am so blessed to be under the direction of Garnet Bruce and Maestro Douglas Kenny Frost and Doctoressa Tamara Sanakidze, because they're allowing me into this creative space to observe and to learn what goes into it. Because some composers will relinquish their scores and that's the end of it for them. And they just show up at the opening night. And I've been fortunate enough to get to sit in the rehearsal space and respectfully listen and enjoy hearing my music from the start to the end, right? And it's such a powerful moment when they get to turn to me and ask, is that what you meant? Or why did you write that? Oh.
If we can set them up for the awe.
So, note, living, breathing art. So there's, we added something to this measure. So we have the orchestra go bum, dim, dum, dum, dum. This is our story.
I did not get them out.
You know, like, my mom would always fix my hair, and I would always just like, as soon as I would turn away, I would unfix my hair. So it's like, that's something you guys can do.
So, sorry, I don't mean to be.
Don't worry, I already wrote it. I processed it.
So come over and see your mom first, right?
Stand up?
Oh yeah, stand up and hug, right? Yeah, we're gonna figure out, right, there he is, right, good. And then we want to time it, so there's a handshake here, I think, right? And this should be where your text comes in. Your abuela should be here.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, so we have an incredible team of artists performing here.
I live for my
Maria del Pilar Pavlova, for instance, is just a brilliant soprano, and it gets to lead.
But when missing my husband
I remember hearing the person who's playing my mother's character, Josíah Garza, for the first time. I remember breaking down in tears in the audition. It's been a challenge, like adjusting to this massive workload of having to put in 10 hours a day for my opera and then go to all my other obligations. But I think that's the kind of grit that this university helps foster in a very healthy way. And I knew going into this it was going to be rough, so I started therapy the semester before to say, like, let me relinquish these like stigmas of caring about my mental health and my body, and let me best prepare myself for this tumultuous semester ahead so that I could get the most out of this opportunity. And not even just for me that was I thinking I need to get this out of this project. It was for the performers, and it was for my family, and it was for everybody in the audience. And I think that is what kept me going. It's the fact that I know this is going to be so important for everyone besides just me.
It seemed the right thing for the 20th anniversary of the Butler Opera Center, and we have composers working in this genre, and we want to support them and engage them and find our way to tell the stories of the 21st century.
Hijos